Christian, both of you guys have been playing the Silent Hill 2 remake. Christian, let's start with you and talk a little bit about it. I know we talked a teensy bit on I think a Wednesday show, or maybe it was one of our 1 minute social media posts. But I'm curious to hear what you think of Silent Hill 2 remake.
Set the stage. I am not a Silent Hill lifelong fan the way
he likes his hills loud.
Oh, give me a loud hill. I want it to be like hill. Give me a green hill.
He wants a hill that's alive with the sound of music.
Thank you very much, Maria. Anyway, even Silent Hill 2, I have distinct memories of watching my brother do most of the playing. I don't know if we were doing life or level or what at the time, but his main system was the PlayStation. That is how we were playing, these games back then. So I didn't even play all of Silent Hill 2 myself when it came out 5 years ago. Much longer than that. Resident Evil has been the horror franchise that I've kind of grown up with, and I've played all of those remakes and have that affinity for. And seeing these trailers, I think we talked about it when they showed it at one of the conferences, they're every week now, one of the PlayStation reveal things when they showed Silent Hill 2 for the first time. I didn't think it looked great. I liked Bloober Team's past games. I thought I had a lot of fun with the Medium. I thought was, really interesting and scary in fun ways in terms of what they were going for in that game, and Layers of Fear. And then there was the Cyberpunk one that was probably my favorite.
I know what you're talking about.
The voice actor was the guy from Blade Runner too. Very good game.
Howard, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'll look it up when I'm not talking, and then I'll yell it while somebody else is talking. But I really enjoyed that game. And so I kind of on this awkward position of like, well, what I've seen of Silent Hill 2 remake so far hasn't looked great. Observer. Thank you. Yes, I really liked that game. Yeah. But I had a lot of fun with the team. Yeah. What was it?
I said it was a really cool game. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with the team's other games. So I kind of went into this a little, we'll see. I really like this Silent Hill 2 remake. I really enjoy this game. And I am not as far through it as I would like. We are recording, a day and a half earlier than we normally do because Jeff needs to go to New York to get an Alarmo. So we had to push the recording time.
Place to get it.
My Alarmo went off and said, we're recording DLC when? So I'm not quite as far into it as I would otherwise like, plus life stuff. So I have Steam says I'm 4.5 hours into the game, and I just finished the what are they, Anthony? The not Woodborough. That's Scream. Woodside Apartments, I think.
Okay.
So it's like kind of the first big space you you go into, if folks remember that game. And this has made it bigger than it was before. And what I really like about this Silent Hill 2 remake so far, and this is I've said this before in other games, I spend a lot of time walking. You can run, you have a run button, but the environment, the vibes, the feeling of the game is so oppressive in a good way. Like it has the fog, it has the creepy aesthetic that folks remember from Silent Hill 2 originally, and now it's more of a feature than a bug. I think even originally the fog was part of the aesthetic, but it was also done because the console couldn't handle the game that they were trying to make without all that fog, kind of like Turok back in the day on N64. But now the fog is really just used to create this atmosphere and create this sense of unease that even out in the open, nowhere is necessarily safe. And now I think it's Woodside, in these apartments, there are more rooms than I remember. It's a bigger environment than I remember it in the original game. So you're exploring more areas going through this place. And the idea of Silent Hill 2 itself, which I will not spoil its narrative, it's very interesting in the sense that, why are you doing any of this stuff, right? You're like a regular dude who stumbles out into the world trying to find their wife. That's the initial setup. But for any other person, the first time you see one of these creatures, you'd be like, nope, out of here. This is clearly, but it's not. The whole world is turned upside down, right? Everything isn't what it seems or feels. The other human beings that exist in this space are all interesting and quirky. And I think what Bloober Team's managed to do in terms of updating while giving it a free roaming camera, right, versus the static kind of tank control of the original and of that era, works really well here. Graphically, it is stunning. I'm playing on PC, so it does suffer from some traversal stutter, as it is now kind of known to be called, but nothing that's interfered with my enjoyment of the game. And it's just, for this 4.5 hours I'm into it, paced really, really well. It is just such an atmosphere and such a perfect spooky place, and playing with headphones and the 3D sound design when the radio cackles in. It does all of the things right that I'm looking for in this type of game. And I am playing on easy, and I am loving it so far. Really, really loving it.
Anthony, you're also playing Silent Hill 2 Remake.
I am. So right off the top, Christian mentioned it. So I have put Silent Hill 2 Remake on hold, hopefully, so they will patch that stuttering, because that stuttering drives me nuts. It's the same. It's similar to what the Dead Space remake had going. It's like you need to have them compile the shaders before the game loads or whatever. I don't know. Digital Foundry actually just put out a video as we're recording this Saturday, so you can kind of see what we're talking about. It's something that I was alluding to with Unreal Engine. It's something that happens with a lot of Unreal Engine games. So, but the reason I'm putting it down and I want to wait for the update is because I really, really like the game, and I don't want it to kind of interfere with my enjoyment of it. But it has those vibes. It has the kind of creepiness. It has so many things about the way that it creates this sense of place, and the little noises you hear, and the kind of the fog around you. It is really very cool. I think it is an excellent game, and the reason I'm pausing is just because I don't want the stuttering to interfere with me.
That's valid, and I'm glad that we have the sort of range of reactions to that, because it sounds like Christian didn't really bother you, but people should be aware, and it sounds like they're working on a patch, right? They're aware of the issue.
Yeah, you have to imagine that anybody that releases a game that's going to happen for sure.
Yeah. So in some games, patches are more or less successful for dealing with this issue.
Yeah.
For me, and I think it's been worse in some spots than others. And like I said, I'm only in 4.5 hours into the game so far, so maybe it becomes more egregious later. It doesn't bother me as much in this game, even than Dead Space when it first launched, because it's not a fast-paced game. So I'm kind of just accepted it. But would it be better without it? 100% yes. And I've heard it's not as prevalent on the PlayStation version of the game. You take a little bit of a graphical hit choosing performance or fidelity mode, which last Friday's Feeling This was Alex Solomon and I were talking about the ideas.
Not if you got $700, you don't have to make that choice anymore.
For a lot of games, you still do, because not all games are announced for PS5 Pro support.
Did I spend the $700? I could have gotten 7 Alarmos.
But this game on PC, aside from that, it has DLSS, Jeff. It has ray tracing. It has all of those things that we like. And what I also really like about this game graphically, and what I think Bloober Team did really smartly, is it's not photorealistic. It's not Echoes of Wisdom style graphics, but it is this not even otherworldly, but there's an artistic approach to a realism here. It's not just we're going for photorealism, especially with some of the other characters that you meet in the world. And I think that translation from OG original to now these modern graphics works really, really well for the approach they took.
Awesome. Well, that's Silent Hill 2 Remake. It's on Christian and Anthony's playlist this week. Anthony, you have one more game.